Okay, let's go.
So you think you know what it takes to be a great trader? You've studied the charts, you know the patterns, you've got your strategy locked down. But what if I told you the most important battle you'll ever fight isn't on the screen, but right between your own ears? Today, we're diving deep into trading psychology, the hidden force that can either make you a consistent winner or, well, your own worst enemy. Oh man, I bet this hits home for a lot of you. You've been there, right? You have a solid plan, the trade is moving your way, the profits are ticking up, and then you do something. You get a little greedy. Maybe you hold on just a bit too long, or you panic at a small dip and sell way too early. And just like that, a beautiful winning trade has cratered into a frustrating, totally avoidable loss. That feeling, that sting, that's your psychology failing you. And that's exactly where this idea of trading psychology comes in. Look, think of it this way. If your trading strategy is the engine of a race car, your psychology is the brakes and the steering. You can have the most powerful engine in the world, but without control, you are absolutely going to crash. It's all about how you handle fear, how you manage greed, and how you perform under pressure, the very things that derail even the smartest traders out there. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to expose the big psychology trap everyone falls into. Then, we'll walk through 5 keys to get you out of it, mastering your emotional discipline, focusing on the process, learning to actually accept losses, having patience and realistic goals, and finally, a big one, knowing that you are not your trades. Let's do this. All right, first up, let's talk about the trap itself. This is that moment when your rational brain just gets completely hijacked by fear and greed. You've got a perfectly good plan sitting right in front of you, but in the heat of the moment, that fear of missing out, FOMO, or the siren's call of a quick, juicy profit just takes over. And poof, your carefully built strategy goes right out the window, replaced by pure, raw impulse. This slide just nails that internal battle, doesn't it? On the left, that's your smart, logical plan. You tell yourself, I'm going to wait for the perfect setup. But then look at the right. That's what really happens. The price starts moving without you, and your brain screams, oh no, it's leaving, I'm going to miss it. And so you jump in early, you abandon the plan, and the market usually makes you pay for it. That gap between what you plan and what you do, that's the graveyard for most trading accounts. So how in the world do we escape this trap? Well, the first key is building real emotional discipline. And listen, this isn't about becoming a robot. You can't just switch off your emotions. It's about developing the mental muscle to execute your plan in spite of what you're feeling. And lucky for us, there are 2 super practical ways to build this strength. Now, these solutions might seem a little simple, but trust me, they are powerful. First, start a detailed trading journal. Write down your plan, why you got in, why you got out, and this is the most important part, how you felt during the trade. This isn't just busy work. You're collecting data on yourself to find your own weak spots. Second, exercise. Seriously, your emotions are driven by hormones. A good workout helps regulate things like cortisol, it resets your brain, and it gives you the clarity you need to come back to the charts with a cool head. Okay, building on that discipline, our next key requires a huge mindset shift. You see, successful trading is not about chasing profits on every single trade. It's about flawlessly executing a good process, over and over and over again. The moment you become obsessed with the money, you start making emotional decisions. But when you obsess over your process, the money just becomes a byproduct. Think about it this way. You would never want a doctor who's more worried about your bill than your actual health, right? A great doctor is obsessed with the process, the right diagnosis, the correct treatment plan. You need to become that doctor for your trades. Obsess over the setup, obsess over your risk management, obsess over the execution. If you do that consistently, the profits will take care of themselves. All right, this next one is tough. I mean, it's really tough for a lot of us because we're basically programmed to think that losing is bad. But in the world of trading, taking small, controlled losses isn't just okay, it's a mandatory part of doing business. You are going to have losing trades. The goal isn't to avoid them, it's to make sure they're small and you have them under control. And here's why that's so important. So much of what happens in the market is completely out of your hands. You could have the most perfect A-plus setup, but then some geopolitical event happens, a government changes a policy, or some random market shock hits. A loss from something like that isn't a mistake you made. It's just the price of admission for playing in a game of probabilities. This chart shows you exactly what happens when you refuse to accept that small loss. You hold on. You hope it'll turn around. But hope is not a strategy. And that hope turns a small, manageable loss, that little bar on the left, into a catastrophic, account-destroying disaster, that giant bar on the right. Accepting the small hits is what lets you survive to fight another day. And that leads us right into our next key: patience and setting realistic goals. So many new traders are basically doomed from the start because their expectations are just completely divorced from reality. They see ads or hear stories about getting rich quick, and that mindset pushes them to take huge, reckless risks. So let's just ask the big question: can you do it? I mean, the honest answer, it's about as likely as winning the Powerball. And if you approach trading with that lottery ticket mentality, it is an absolute recipe for disaster. Your expectations are going to get crushed, you'll get frustrated, and you'll end up blowing up your account trying to force something that just isn't there. So we need to reframe this completely. As a developing trader, your number one goal is not to make a profit. It is simply to survive. That's it. Your goal is to finish the week or the month at break even. Protect your capital, follow your process, learn the ropes, and just stay in the game. Once you master survival, then you can start thinking about consistent, realistic returns. The skill has to come first, and the money will follow. And this brings us to our final, and you know what, maybe the most profound key of them all. You have got to separate your trading results from your identity, from your self-worth. This is a trap that so many traders fall into, especially early on. You have to burn this into your brain. A losing trade does not make you a loser. It doesn't say anything about your intelligence or your value as a human being. It is simply a piece of data. It means either your strategy didn't play out this time, or you made a mistake that you can learn from. You're on a learning curve. You wouldn't call yourself a failure for stalling a car on your very first driving lesson, would you? Of course not. So let's be crystal clear about what a trade's outcome is and what it is not. It's a data point. It is not a grade on your life's report card. The market doesn't care if you have a PhD or if you dropped out of high school. It only rewards disciplined execution. Detaching your ego from the outcome is what keeps you from getting arrogant after a big win or depressed after a loss. It's what gives you the mental stability to last in this game for the long haul. So let's bring it all home. Winning this mental game isn't about some magic trick. It's about building a cycle of discipline. It all starts with mastering your emotions. That allows you to focus on your process, not the profits. A good process means you accept small losses to avoid the big ones. And you can only do all that if you're patient, you set realistic goals, and you always remember that your results are not who you are. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Take a look back at your own trading and be brutally honest with yourself. Which one of these is your biggest roadblock? Is it the emotional discipline? Are you too focused on profits? Do you have trouble taking a loss? Are your goals unrealistic? Or are you tying your ego to your results? Figuring out your biggest psychological hurdle, that is the very first step to conquering it. Thanks for tuning in.